Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, einen schönen, heißen Vormittag vom Außenwirtschaftscenter der Wirtschaftskammer Österreich hier in Brüssel. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning from Brussels and welcome to our webinar, Belgium as a Port Hub. My name is Cornelia Reibach-Stambolija and I'm the head of Advantage Austria in Brussels. In the next hour, four very knowledgeable experts have agreed to share their expertise and to take you behind the scenes of the most important ports of Belgium, and especially highlight the cooperation potential there is for Austrian companies. Now, without further ado, let me introduce you to the speakers of this webinar and to our program. So the first port we will take a deep dive into is Belgium's largest port, the port of Antwerp-Bruges. It will be presented to you by Wim Dillen, International Development Manager of the port. Next, we will shed a light on the connections between the port of Antwerp-Bruges and Austria. We have our honorary consul, Edwin Möhlich, as a speaker. He's not only the Austrian honorary consul in Antwerp, he's also the CEO of the company Rail & Sea and does business in the port of Antwerp. Next, we will switch the perspective and take a look at another important Belgian port, the North Sea Port in Ghent. And it will be presented to us by Fred Baert. He is the commercial manager of the North Sea Port Ghent. Last but not least, we thought this webinar wouldn't be complete without a testimonial of an Austrian company that has already been doing business successfully with the Belgian ports. And we are very happy that Koen Lammers, CEO of the Belgian branch of the Austrian company DOCA, will give us a testimonial and share his experience working in the port of Antwerp-Bruges. Finally, we will have a Q&A session, but a couple of words on that later on. The Q&A session will be hosted by my dear colleague, Laurent Knubben. He is the sector manager for the mobility sector in my team. A couple of technical aspects before we dive into the ports. The webinar will take 60 minutes. It will be recorded. The recording will be made available to you afterwards. And of course, it will be anonymized, so your names will not come up in the recording. After the webinar, we will send you a follow-up email, not only with the link to the recording, but also with the presentations and the contact details of today's speakers. I already mentioned in the end, we will have a Q&A session. Whenever a question comes to your mind, please write it into the chat window. And after the speakers have concluded their presentations, we will answer all the questions. But of course, you may also raise your hand and switch on your microphone and your camera and ask the question yourself. Before we dive into the world of the Belgian ports, maybe not all of you have been doing with Belgium yet, so a couple of words on Belgium as a business partner for Austria. You can see in the middle of the slide, we have put a map of Belgium and we have added 3 pins. Those 3 pins show you the locations of the ports we will be talking about today. The 2 blue pins are for the port of Antwerp-Bruges with its 2 platforms, and the red pin shows you where the North Sea Port Ghent is located. Belgium is a reliable and important business partner for Austria. It ranks 15th among Austria's trading partners. Last year, Austria has exported goods worth 3.2 billion euros to Belgium. Which goods from Austria, which products are especially sought after? It's first of all pharmaceutical products, but also vehicles, machinery, appliances, equipment for industrial production sites, but also plastics are an important category. Of course, we will be happy to answer any questions you have about the Belgian markets after the webinar, but now, without further ado, I would like to pass the floor, or the screen in our case, to our first speaker, to Wim Dillen, presenting the port of Antwerp-Bruges. Dear Wim, the floor is yours.
I hope everybody can see my presentation.
Looks good, Wim. Thank you.
Okay. As my good friend Edwin will highlight the connections and the opportunities with our port, I'm going to inform you a little bit on our upcoming investment plans and on the innovation efforts that we make to make our port even more efficient than it is today. But first, I would like to highlight a few things on who we are. For those who are less familiar with our port, we are a merged port since 4 years. 4 years ago, the port of Antwerp and the port of Bruges merged in one single port, managed by one management committee, one strategy, one vision, a very strong collaboration, I should say. Both ports were owned 100% by the cities they belong to. Today, obviously, we have two shareholders, one of which is the city of Bruges for 20%, and the port of Antwerp also for 80% is owned by the city of Antwerp. The management committee reports to a board of directors, which is on one side politically inspired. You have the president, which is the vice mayor of Antwerp, and Dirk de Vouw, who is the mayor of Bruges. They are the presiding the board of directors. Next to that, you have both independent and political members who help us take all the right decisions with regard to investment and future strategy. The port has two platforms. This is not at scale, as you can imagine, but a few elements that are important to know. We roughly do 270 billion tons per year, but we are basically an export port, more export than import, which is very attractive for ships to come to Antwerp. We have a leading position in a number of commodities like chemicals, steel, car handling, and so forth. And the total port accounts for roughly 21 billion euros of added value, which represents roughly 4.5% of the Belgian GDP. I'm going to take you through the investment outlook. On both platforms, we have impressive investments planned or ongoing, which you could categorize in 4 major blocks. You have the ones that are focusing on our future growth. You have a number of investments which are the typical maintenance investments. But we're also investing largely in anything to do with sustainable transition, going for a greener and a better future. And last but least, we also constantly try to improve our connectivity and our mobility. In Antwerp platform, the first growth project that is ongoing today is Project 1. Project 1 is of the chemical company Ineos, who has production sites in Antwerp and in other countries as well. But they are building the first ethane cracker on the continent since 25 years. This is work in progress. It's all, for a large part, already ready. It's an Ineos project of 3-4 billion euros, but in order to attract them for this important project, we had to renovate the concession, of course, and to improve the accessibility of that. So that was, for us, a major investment. Our part is done. Ineos is implementing the project, which will basically be finished in 2-3 years. Europe Terminal is a terminal operated by PSA. Here we are enlarging the quay, allowing for more containers to be handled in the future. That's a huge challenge because at the same time we don't want to lose out on capacity. So the works are being realized without interference of the existing terminal, but we're expanding it to a very large part, and that is already, as you see here on the picture, done. A third and the most important growth project in Antwerp has to do with extra container capacity. We're going to build a new tidal dock next to the Deurgang dock. Here you see the land. It's still going, let's say it's still agricultural area today, but here we will build a new dock, which in principle the project decision is taken this year, allowing us to start the construction as of next year. On the map, you see the blue boomerang dock that will enlarge our capacity, and together with the previous project of PSA Europe Terminal, we will bring the capacity, theoretical capacity, from 15 to 22 million TEU per year. Maintenance, I'm going to go very quickly through. Siberia Bridge needs to be renovated. We are currently renovating the Hansa dock, where we have more activity expected in the coming year. We also are renovating our dry docks, which is necessary if you have 22,000 seagoing vessels coming to your port. You want to be able to offer maintenance services too. In sustainability, we are together with a number of industrial partners, as you see here on the right-hand side. We are realizing Antwerp at Sea. It's a project that foresees the capture of CO2, bring it via an open access pipeline from the companies that produce it, bring it to a liquefaction plant that will be built here at the old Liberation Dock site, where coal and iron ore typically was used. It will be the house of a liquefaction plant where we liquefy the CO2 and bring it to empty gas sinks in the North Sea. Very important in sustainability is also the Next Gen District project, where we attract, it's an old Opel site, but we've been able to attract 5 companies, 3 of which US companies, that will recycle products, waste products, into virgin material or useful products. And 5 companies have signed the concession agreement, so we will expand it even more. The pink area is strategic reserve, but already we have several customers that are interested in being there too. We're expanding the Verebroek New Era development project, where we also want to see a focus on sustainability. And then with regard to access and mobility, it's important to know that the Royers Lock is being completely revamped. It's the oldest lock which we had in Antwerp platform. It serves for the inland navigation and small short sea vessels, and it will be ready in principle in 3 years from now. It's being built as we speak. Also important to know that we're renewing the Antwerp Coordination Center. The old building on the right-hand side, which you see here, dates back from 70 years ago. It's worn out. It will be demolished. This will be the new Antwerp Coordination Center, and will house not only people from the port of Antwerp-Bruges, but also the other actors in the nautical command on the sea. We're improving the accessibility of the Oosterweel Island by renewing the bridges. That's also a planned project. In Zeebrugge, we have, same principle, a number of projects. The Leopold II Dam, the oldest part of the port, is going to be renewed and expanded. That is one plan. We're dredging the Boudewijn Canal, allowing deeper going vessels to come there. We are renewing the ponton, maintaining, let's say, the area. We're moving a lot of soil in that new concession, that future concession area that falls under maintenance. Sustainability, very important. We're going to install onshore power supply for the cruise vessels that come to our port, an increasing number, if I may say. It's a European project, but we need to install that. It's an obligation within the next 2 years, I think. Internally, we also improved the accessibility by making a new bridge over the railway which intersects the port of the platform of Zeebrugge and divided it in two. Now that you have a better connection between two parts. The biggest mobility or accessibility project, however, is the new lock which we will build in replacing the old Wiesart lock in Zeebrugge. This is necessary because today we are limited and we only really have one access, the other lock, and this will bring certainty for the trade flows that go to the inner port of Zeebrugge. And last but not least, you know that in Belgium cycling is very popular, and we're at the sea here in Zeebrugge, so there's a lot of cycling being done by tourists, and we need to make sure that that happens in a safe way. So we are creating safe cycle lanes, allowing for the typical tourists also to pass through the port of Zeebrugge. A few words to conclude on innovation enablement. There is an important, let's say, strategic vision. We see our port and the two platforms as an open innovation platform. So we welcome companies that want to try and innovate and try out new ideas. A few examples of things that have been done. We have operational an echo drone, fully automatic, that constantly measures where we need to dredge in our port. We have Seafar, who came and with the help of our port now makes it possible to have commercial remote controlled barges operating in Belgium. It's an Antwerp company. We're very proud of that. And there are several other examples. Also on land, we invest quite a lot on automation. On the terminals, that is perhaps easier, but also we are allowing tests to be done for automatic driven personal cars. And the first test of an automatic driven without a driver truck was held earlier this year. We see that as a future development. We want to promote that further down the road. In the air, we are also very active. You have today commercial flights of samples operated by ADLS, and that's a drone operator which helps improving the samples brought to labs from tankers to be more efficient. Ourselves, we have created a D-Hive. 6 drones from several docking stations in the port are constantly flying over the port, allowing us to make it more efficient. And we created a digital nervous system based on all the natural senses, of which I would like to give you a small film as it goes. That's where my presentation ends. A small conclusion. The Port of Antwerp-Bruges continues to invest largely. We're talking about billions in the port of in its both platforms to make it a better port for the customers like yourself. Thank you for your attention. I'm now stopping the presentation.
Thank you so much, Wim, for this excellent presentation. I knew that the Port of Antwerp-Bruges is a substantial powerhouse for the whole Belgian economy and for all of Europe's economy, actually. But with these ambitious investment plans that you have, this role will become even more important. So thank you for sharing your insights. Now we are switching our focus. We are going to the question, how are Austria and the Port of Belgium connected today, and maybe what is to be expected in the future? And for this presentation, I would like to hand over to our esteemed honorary consul, Edwin Möhlich, and CEO of Rail and Sea in the Port of Antwerp. Edwin, the screen is yours.
Okay, good morning to you all. Do you see my presentation? Let's have a look. Okay, yes, you can see the presentation. First of all, I'll describe quickly who is Rail and Sea, and then afterwards I'll go into the heart of my presentation, which is the connectivity between Austria and Antwerp. First of all, Rail and Sea is a private group started in 1997 in Austria. In 2004, we created Belgium as a joint venture. As a joint company. We are 100% private. We are focused on railway logistics, and we are present in several countries in Europe. What is our focus? That is supply chain mode. We are introducing rail into supply chain models. That means that we are interested in rail, we're interested in terminals, of course, in locations like the Port of Antwerp or Zeebrugge or the Port of Ghent. There are terminal operators which are partners in developments, so we do not have to invest in Eastern Europe. We have our own investments. We are not investing in trucks, we're not investing in ocean-going vessels, but we're linking up the transport facilities into a model. We have a range of services. That means that we are buying rail logistics from rail operators, both private as public. We are a railway undertaking. That means that we have also a private traction operation in countries like Romania, Slovenia, Croatia, Germany, and Austria. Rail port terminals are facilities in Eastern Europe or Central Europe. We are also operating industrial rail sidings. That means that we are taking over rail sidings and rail organizations of industries, and we are developing our own EDI solutions to support our activities. Going into the heart of the presentation, of course, is that what is our approach and how do we combine Belgium and Austria? First, we have a combined focus on maritime flows and distribution flows. That means that that export companies or even eventually import companies have the possibility to combine both overseas maritime flows, if it is short sea or it is deep sea, together with distribution flows. We could give examples for the steel industry going through Antwerp or through Ghent, or the paper industry going to Antwerp or in Zeebrugge, whereby there are combined rail cars even for local distribution as for overseas. That means that terminals are able to discharge the cargo, sort the cargo for different solutions, and from there distribution can be done for Benelux, partly the north of France, sometimes even Germany, and other volumes can go on overseas. That here can only be done, of course, if you combine flows into conventional solutions, like we call it, break bulk or Stückgut, like you call it in German. So the supply chain analysis is for us very important. We try to understand the flows from the beginning to the end and try to integrate our solutions. Port shift is a result if we are doing our job well. Austria is a very good example of what can be done on port shift. When we started the solution with rail cargo in 2015, we're linking up Austria to Belgium, Linz to Antwerp, Linz as being a hub, Antwerp as being a hub. we discovered that we could attract volumes from Hamburg, from Bremen, from Koper and Rotterdam into Antwerp mainly, but also to Belgium as a whole. That is very important. So that is also our approach, both on import as an export. Import examples exist, for instance, in gas, whereby we attracted volumes into Antwerp and then combining by rail to Austria, Hungary, and even into Ukraine. Overseas forwarding is of course done by specialized partners that are the big names in the industry. They're also present in Antwerp. We are not interfering in the forwarding company's approach. We are trying to support them with rail solutions and with the right approach. Last mile distribution is done with specialized hauliers, of course, but also with conventional terminals which are present in the different ports. Going to the next page. So partnership, logistics partners and terminals. We are working with all main players in terms of terminals in Antwerp. Also in Ghent, we have a partner where we work with. Sometimes we are working with even competitors in order to find solutions for the customers. That is our shared focus which we have. Breakbulk combination with containers. A lot of export companies out of Austria are thinking immediately of containers. Containers meaning that the port of Hamburg is a traditional location where they're going to. Antwerp has something else to offer. Antwerp has breakbulk offers. That means that we can go in conventional rail solutions to Antwerp. From there, we go via terminals, and the terminals can choose if it goes into containers to the main container terminals, or it stays in breakbulk and it goes on breakbulk vessels. That eventually combined with locals and local logistics, which is optimizing the chain. We have seen in Corona times and after Corona times that container lines have increased their freights with enormous amounts. The breakbulk sector has been much more stable, is still much more stable than containers, and therefore breakbulk should not be forgotten into the total approach. Efficient hinterland connections are of course important. I will see it on the map how we develop that. Quality warehousing is of course a given. We can say that Antwerp is specialized in terms of quality warehousing, and we are integrating these in solutions. EDI is just supporting what we are doing. Coming to the solutions between network of Rail Cargo Austria and ourselves. So we developed in 2015 the first trains. We started with 3 trains between Antwerp and Linz. We are connecting the whole and the entire Austrian market, but also via Austria, we are connecting Hungary on a daily basis. Slovakia, south of Poland, northern Italy. We are therefore covering a big part of Central Europe and Eastern Europe. In the meantime, we are going up to 7 to 9 trains per week in both directions. All these trains are full. That means we're not running empty, and we are optimizing the wagon situation in both ways. That means that a steel rail car, for instance, coming from Austria to Belgium, is being reloaded out of Belgium, going to, for instance, Hungary, and from Hungary positioned into Austria with other flows. We're doing the same with paper, with covered rail cars. So we're trying to optimize basically different flows. How does it work? The Port of Antwerp is the hub for us. We are going to Antwerp left bank as a hub, so we are not using Antwerp North. We are not into the rail port scenario. That means that we are organizing ourselves with a private partner, which is Railtrax, and from there we are able to service all terminals in Antwerp. So we are not making any difference. And out of Waaslandhaven, we are combining different locations. So you have a weekly service into Ghent. We have connections into Zeebrugge. We have connections to La Louvière and to some other in Genk, for instance, in Belgium also, and that on a daily basis. So basically, the locomotives are used like taxis, which are servicing the different areas. We have a service which is so a weekly service. We are saying minimum 5 departures, but in reality, we are between 7-9 departures. The transit time between Antwerp and Linz is less than 24 hours, and Linz Antwerp. So connecting to areas like Graz or Burgenland or whatever locations in Austria or even Salzburg, we are able to deliver that in 48 to 72 hours, which is extremely fast. The other way around as well. That means that we are optimizing basically transport chains in combination with advantages that the Port of Antwerp has, whereby we are winning 4 days in transit time, because the Port of Antwerp is for the main container lines, the first port of call, but also the last port of call. And we see that once customers are getting used to the system, that they're supporting it and very favorable. So Linz is connecting the different areas. Of course, Austria is a home market. We can do it on a single rail car. We can do it groups of rail cars, but you can also do it for full trains. So that is basically the service we are providing. If you need support, your address in the connections. So I'm handing over the word to Cornelia, and then afterwards, a small bridge to Ghent. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Edwin, for this presentation, and thank you so much for really connecting Austria to Belgium and to its port. I think it is really your accomplishment, the accomplishment of your company. You've done a great job for all of Austrian companies and companies from the region actually that want to work with the efficient solutions of the Belgian ports. So now we will shift our focus from the port of Antwerp-Bruges to the North Sea Port Ghent, and I would like to pass the screen to Fred Bart for his presentation.
Yes, thank you, Cornelia, and welcome to all of you also to the presentation of North Sea Port. My name is Fred Bart, I'm one of the commercial managers, and I'll guide you through an overview of the port and also what our merits and our USPs are within our area and within the greater European area. We as a port, North Sea Port, we are actually one port in 2 countries. We are also a merger of 2 previous ports. That was in 2018. It's cross-border, it's both in the Netherlands and in Belgium, and it contains of Vlissingen, Terneuzen and Ghent. As you may know the location, so I can go over this quite quickly. As you can see, our previous presentation of Antwerp-Bruges. Antwerp is to the right, Bruges is to the left. We're in the middle, and we're both in Belgium and in the Netherlands in a complete area of more than 60 kilometers. If we start in the top in the Netherlands, we have the Vlissingen platform, which is not behind the lock, so it's a tight harbor located on the other side of the Western Scheldt, and is known for a lot of offshore, but also multiple connections, a lot of production, and even also future expansions and future infrastructure investments that we might go into detail later on. Then behind the lock we have, well, first of all, we have our lock. It's a new lock. I will end with that presentation as well. We have the area of Terneuzen still in the Netherlands, but behind the lock. There we are planning to also increase the surface area of our harbor in the future. I would say near future, but we all know how challenging that is. But we are focusing on more than 300 hectares of additional port area in the coming years or decades. And then last but not least, in the Belgian part is indeed the Port of Ghent, or the former Port of Ghent in Ghent, Evenhem and Zelzate. It is also known as an bulk harbor with a lot of different industries. Examples are ArcelorMittal or Volvo Cars and Volvo Trucks that have their productions there. But we are also home of a lot of logistics and warehouses, chemistry, and also circular industries, and something that we really believe that we still have room to invest and room to expand within that area. If we divide a little bit more into the Ghent area, we have two big logistic hubs. One of the first one is the Kluizendock area, where we have more than 700,000 square meters of warehouses. They're all quite new, brand new. They're all from the last 7 to 8 years, so it's a huge expansion. We also have a multimodal terminal there where we connect sea, barge, and rail to all areas, and we will see that in the multimodal overview. It's something that where we also have some room to invest, some room to expand, both for production and also for logistic flows. The next multimodal hub is Mercatordock, Schaldenpark. It's one of the key drivers there is the presence of DFDS, who has liner service to Göteborg, and also the production site of Volvo cars and Volvo trucks nearby. Vast amount of sustainable warehousing, more than 650,000 square meters, close to the city of Ghent, and also located on the right bank of our port area. As our port, how do we fit within the European picture? Where concerning the cargo traffic, we're number 6, but we really are also one of the main ports. If you look at the added value, that has to do with the type of port we are, that we can generate a lot of added value because we are really focused on the bulk cargoes and the raw materials that can then be transformed into all types of products. Within our port, more than 550 companies, more than 100,000 jobs. So we're also one of the drivers, the economic drivers in our area. Our key global trading partners, as you may see, are a lot around Europe, which UK is leading with 5.8 million tons. Canada at 5.4 million tons is a close second. And as you can see also, the other partners are available here. As I mentioned, we are a bulk port. As you see that the vast majority of our cargo is actually liquid and dry bulk, and even combined with break bulk. It's most of the cargo is in the bulk segment. Compared to other ports, you see that our container flows are quite limited. It's only 3%. That also has to do with our lock, which is limiting us for the huge container flows that go to our neighboring ports of Rotterdam and Antwerp-Bruges. But we then play a key role in the barge connections and the inland connections that we offer to also get to the mainland and get all the cargo flows quickly through our port area. If we then look at our maritime modal split, that means what amount of cargo that arrives through seagoing vessels, how do they end up or how do they leave our port? You see that more than 60% of it leaves our port again through inland shipping, or of course the other way around, arrives inland shipping and then leaves through seagoing vessels. Rail is also at 10%. It's also something that we want to focus on in the near future, and we're also doing a lot of investments to support that. Just to give you an idea of the depth, I'm not going into detail into too many figures, but as you can see, more than 9,000 hectares of port area, and we have a depth of 17 meters in Vlissingen, 12.5 in Terneuzen and Ghent, because of the lock. Our Impact 2030, our strategic plan, where we focus on different programs. The first one is we want to be a leading European port. That is how we facilitate our business, how we try to link the existing companies, also attract new companies, especially in the energy and in the raw materials transition. And we believe that the linkage of existing companies to new companies is the way forward. We don't want to have companies that are solely focused on themselves. We really believe in that network, in that cooperation. Second, of course, especially today, the resilience and safety, we really invest in that. We have multiple projects on that, as of all our other colleagues of other ports as well. But safety and resilience is really something embedded in our new strategic plan. As mentioned, space for growth, not just blind growth, but really focused on what we believe the future will bring, both for our existing industries as also new and innovative processes and industries that are popping up and we want to facilitate. How do we do that? Well, we are trying to connect all the different types of infrastructure. We need to revamp them, we need to enlarge them, we need to make them more efficient, and we try to do that as a port authority in a way that suits both our existing companies, but also prepares us for the future. One of those aspects is those sustainable supply chains. We are a hub. We are really not the center of the world. We are a hub, a crossroad where flows, industries, and people are moving, and we try to facilitate that by investing in those connections. Those connections.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I need to ask you to come to a conclusion soon because we have another speaker waiting and we don't want to run over with the time. But of course, we'll share your presentation afterwards.
Okay. Yes, I will go through quickly. So we have two existing connections on the TNT network, which is also really interesting to see how we are located. Next to that, we have transatlantic cargo flows, as you can see, mostly in the African and American part of the world. We connect the other areas of Europe as well. We can show you that also on our website, where we can give you more information. To support that, we have, for instance, the customs that we also provide within our port, which also means that if you have international cargo going through Antwerp or Rotterdam and then connect to the barge to Ghent or to Neuzen, then we can do the clearance and the customs within our port area. Because of the time, I will skip a bit further on some of our projects. We had a new lock. Information is also provided on our website. We believe in the future that we will also be one of the crossroads to connect also the north of France with the Seine-Scheldt project. And next to that, it's a lot of more types of industries, hydrogen, we're there, digital gateways. We invest also, of course, on the environment and on the rail connections. We really believe that the transformation of different types of goods is also a place that we have in our port. We invest in infrastructure, and because of that, I think you get a good overview of what we offer, and we offer that for multiple types of industries. I always challenge people to find an industry that is suitable for a port area, but that is not already within our port area as of today. The rest of the slides are will be sent to you, and I will wish you an interesting webinar, and I hope to see you in our port area in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Fred, for this presentation. And of course, you're at the disposal of our participants as far as conversations and follow-up information after the webinar is concerned. Now we do another shift from the port presentations to an Austrian company that has a lot of experience doing projects in the Belgian port. DOCA. I'm sure all Austrian participants are very familiar with the name, and I'm passing the screen to see the CEO of DOCA Belgium, Koen Lamers.
Yes, hello, I'm Koen Lamers, CEO, as mentioned by Cornelia. Do you see my screen?
Yes, it's visible, thank you.
Okay. So I will bring you in a short notice some explanations of who we are, how we work, and what we are doing in connection with the ports, who are our clients, and a lot of reference projects to trigger you also to do business as an Austrian company in the potential that Belgium and the Belgian ports have. So DOCA is a global leader in formwork and scaffolding, which means that we have systems to pour concrete on site in building projects. We are part of Group with the headquarters in Amstetten, which is situated between Vienna and Linz. And we are present in 50 countries and have all over the world 160 sales and logistic facilities. We can say we have an efficient distribution network, but also a rail connection you can see on the back of the picture from our installations in Amstetten, and we make the difference towards our clients when it concerns our technical support, engineering services, and big and complex projects. Where are we located in Belgium? We are founded since 1987 in Ternat, which is just next to Brussels, and we also have a second yard in Tielt in West Flanders, also to serve the triangle Ghent, Bruges, more specifically from there. We have 70 employees mixed in blue and white color, and our departments here in Belgium are concentrated towards sales, engineering, logistics, and support, while we can count back on our staff services in the headquarters in Amstetten. Our business we are doing here is in sales from new and used material, and mainly rental business, which means that our clients are renting our systems and bringing them back after their project has been finished. Our logistics flows concern mainly on three different flows, which means new material is coming from the production centralized in Amstetten in Austria. So we support the export from Austria towards other countries all over the world. Used material, we have intercompany exchange, in which material is exchanged from one to another country. And in Belgium, towards our clients, to the Belgian sites, we have our transports out of our branch in Tielt or Ternat. This is where we are located. So I'm now sitting in where you see the left picture, centralized in that building. And we also have our branch in Tielt. Then some words about our clients. So DOCA's clients in the Belgian ports, where do we play? How do we win? Our clients are, in fact, always construction companies. They can be big, they can be smaller, and they can also be associated in joint ventures. And they're working for different project developers or owners. So the clients from DOCA, they can get their orders by public tenders organized by the government or, for example, the Port Authority of Ghent or Antwerp-Bruges. And besides that, they can also have negotiations, offers discussed with private companies active in the ports. I come back to that with examples later on. And we have our network since years in Belgian construction market, and we are following up also everything which is planned for future developments in general in Belgium, but mainly also in Belgian ports, like we already saw today, what is planned for the future in Antwerp, Bruges, and Ghent. And we get then our requests, price requests, quote requests from construction companies who are involved in port development projects, and we work this out with our engineering and sales. So we have different types of projects and clients. Some of them are more specialized in big infrastructures or buildings, and other more in industrial projects like silos, tank parks, pipe racks, and warehouses. So who are then the clients from our clients, these developers I mentioned? So it can be the Flemish government for the basic infrastructure by public tenders. It can be the port authorities, such as the Port of Antwerp-Bruges or North Sea ports, for commercial quay walls, for example, or internal port roads. Also to mention, for a big importance for us is the nuclear power plant situated in Doel in the Port of Antwerp. And of course, all private companies active in the port, which can be good handlers, containers, bulk, ro-ro terminals, port industry, the chemical or petrochemical plants, logistic service providers, or companies which are active on concessions from the port authority, or also combinations from all these different partners together. Then we come to some bigger reference projects in which DOCA Belgium was involved. We are proud that we can say in Antwerp, the Kieldrechtsluis, or named also the Deurgang Docklock, in the port of Antwerp, we realized there the biggest lock, the biggest sea lock in the world for the Flemish government. You see the dimensions, 68 meters by 500 meters, and the concrete structures, almost 800,000 cubic meters, were all poured in our, from Austrian origin, based formwork. And you also see the quantity of steel which has been used at 3 times the weight from the Eiffel Tower. Here you see a picture from our design, project design formwork for massive quay walls. If you see at the bottom some people working and placing the steel rebars for the next phase, you see the big blue, yellow colored supporting systems and formwork which we designed specifically for that. You see here at the left picture in 3 different stages how we build up the around 25-meter high massive quay wall, and at the right, yeah, at the end, almost below, before everything went underwater, because you don't see it anymore, just at the top you see where now the vessels are passing through. We also combined it with a lot of standard systems for the finishing or the bridge foundations and so on. Not only for the Port of Antwerp, but also the already mentioned new sea lock in Terneuzen, so the entrance for the Port of Ghent. We realized the complete formwork, but the building, the methodology was a little bit different than what you saw in Antwerp. So we could mainly do this in all standard systems in massive, huge quantities, where, as I already mentioned, we can make the difference with our logistic organization to collect all this material. And there we had a collaboration for the Flemish government and Rijkswaterstaat, our client, a big joint venture, and we also combined it because it's on Dutch, over the Dutch border, but by a cooperation with our colleagues from DOCA Netherlands in an 80-20. Also here some pictures during the building phase. At the right you see what is all now underwater, the big channels around the lock to circulate, for the circulation of the water, for emptying and filling up the lock for the movements for the vessels. Then going back to the Port of Antwerp, we are at this moment involved in the developments for PSA Antwerp, where there is a big reorganization in the quay wall infrastructure, also for future developments. And there are formwork, you see it at the left, the floor slab and the vertical wall, which will be the interface with the water after everything has been realized. You see it at the right is all our formwork, standard wall formwork used to build up that quay wall platform. Then, very proud also to mention the
one project, so that we have some time left for the Q&A session, but I'm sure that's the one you want to talk about.
Yeah, so here we have the Port of Antwerp headquarter office, where we build up in 5 phases the fair-faced concrete piles and also the parking under it and the inner supporting system. Very special, and if you ask me who can do this, I can only say we, as with our engineering, we did it all with our colleagues from Austria, specialists, to design this in 3 models to make it possible. Here you see the result. And also for private terminals, we are involved in this case, a sea tank terminal for Total, where we did key walls around tank parks. Here also another example for Rubis. And towards the future, we actually in preparation for BASF to build a complete concrete silo. And here you see our design on which we all start with our first contacts with the clients. And last but not least, also accessibility, mobility, very important. We were also involved in the A11 infrastructure works, which connects Bruges with Antwerp, very important for the port of Bruges to connect them with the hinterland. We did there all bigger parts for this viaduct, for the tunnels, which you see at the right, and also for railway crossings with that infrastructure, that our design makes it even possible that train traffic can continue towards the port and the hinterland, while the tunnels around it are built up. And in Antwerp, also for the Oosterweel connection, we are involved. Actually, we are creating there the bypass viaduct, which will make it possible that there will be another part of tunnels built afterwards in the open space they will create. So, some closing words. Belgium is a small country with dense concentration. Their industry and economical motors create employment and added value. And each port has its master plans. And by following up this, you can be informed about what's possible in your own business, in your playing field, which gives you chances for different kinds of business in the ports, as we do on our own way in our construction world. And last but not least, you know, all of you know now that Austrian products are shaping the Belgian ports if you see concrete structures. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you so much, Koen. And I particularly like your last line, Austrian products are shaping the ports of Belgium. We, of course, want to foster that. And I think that your example, Loka's example, has been very inspiring. So thank you so much to all the speakers. Thank you to the participants. You will receive a follow-up email in a couple of days with the recording of the webinar, with the presentations, the contact details of our speakers, and of course at Advantage Austria Brussels at the AußenwirtschaftsCenter Brüssel. We're always at your disposal to help you grow your business in Belgium and with the Belgian ports. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon.